All right, day number 3. We do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Today's Thursday, and getting ready for an amazing weekend. Tomorrow night, we're going to be just going hardcore in intercession at the Detroit Prayer Furnace. Then Saturday, a lot's going on. 4 o'clock. We're going to be downtown at Joe Louis Arena, and I definitely need you to come. Absolutely. We need the laborers on site. We've got 5,000 of these cards that we're going to be passing out. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to be walking around and we're going to be praying, and we'll be just praying in the Spirit. And then as we see somebody that maybe God puts on our heart, we'll just pray life into them. And without them even knowing it, we'll speak life, we'll prophesy and decree over them. And when we're done, we'll just walk up to them and say, hey, we just prayed for you, and is there anything else that you would like us to pray for? And just give them this card, and it'll just encourage them, knowing that they're not alone, and God's thinking about them, and God likes them. And it says you've just been prayed for. Then what was the prayer? For an encounter with Jesus that shifts the very course of your life. And so right there you have it. And they can contact us if they ever want some follow-up. And so it's good. So we want you to come on out. Again, this is this Saturday, the 22nd of February, 2014. This is for a Winter Jam, and we're going to be doing it with Family Life Radio. They've interviewed me a couple of times on the air, and so we're going to be hooking up with them. And so, yeah, definitely come on out. That event starts at 6 o'clock, but we're going to be there as people are going into the building. We're going to be outside. And so arrive early, and so you can park and get there on time. We're going to be meeting at 4 o'clock sharp right at the main entrance. Okay? If you need to contact me about that, you can use the email address here, live at thefurnace.tv. I'll get that email. And if you're on your way and you're not sure where to meet up, or you're confused, I'll have my phone with me, and I'll respond to emails that I get. And so we're definitely going to do everything we can to help you get there and just have an amazing time. So that's Saturday, and you can also use this email address right now if you want to shoot in comments or questions about the show tonight. And so you can definitely do that too. And then Saturday, after we're done praying, that part ends at 6 o'clock. Then we're going to shoot on up to Revival Church for a regular Saturday night service. And we're going to, I tell you what, man, we're going to just burn white hot. And if you're lukewarm, your status will be in danger. If you come to Revival Church, you'll either choose to run as fast as you can, or you will just get scorched by the fire of the Holy Spirit. And so that Saturday night, join us there. And then one more quick commercial starting on Monday, and y'all need to pray for me because I haven't had any time to get to I'm supposed to work on a promo, and then my first show is Monday. But we're going to be on the air in Detroit. There's 3 million potential listeners, and so this is going to be Monday through Friday at 4:45 p.m. starting this Monday. And you can tune in there. You can tune in online. You can stream it online and just do a search for 1440 WDRJ, and you can listen online. Okay. First of all, I want to remind you that this video has a little bit of a delay. So when you're using the chat room, which I hope you are at thefurnace.tv/live, okay? Some of you are watching directly on our YouTube channel, which means you're not going to be able to participate in the chat. So I'd encourage you to go over just to leave where you are if you're on YouTube. And this is embedded right into our page. Here's the address, thefurnace.tv/live, LIVE. And right there you'll be able to see the chat room, and you can chat with each other, and you can chat with me. I'm keeping my eyes on the chat room, and if you have questions or comments and stuff like that, you can definitely put that up there. All right, good. So tonight, we're going to get into part 2 of the Madmen are coming. Now, last night, slightly abbreviated night. We'll see how tonight goes. But I want to talk about how important it is to be radically unified. And listen, we do not know what unity is. We don't understand. We think unity means that that it's more like an affinity group. We rally around things that we like, and then we break off when maybe we don't like something. That's not unity at all. Unity is it's costly, it's hardcore, man. And and so we're going to look at this. But the madmen are coming. I want to read the scripture here. Let's see. 2 Corinthians 11:23. Are they servants of Christ? I love this scripture. This is Paul. Are they servants of Christ? I am a better one. I mean, do you think he ever got accused of being arrogant? Do you think that ever might have happened with Paul? One of the greatest men that ever lived, right? One of the most humble men that ever lived. And I am a better one. I am talking like a madman, with for greater labors, more imprisonments, with countless beatings, and often near death. And so Paul is talking about this extreme life, this extreme call. I talked a little bit last night about extreme church. We can't have these passive, low-level church experiences anymore. We've got to have unity at a level that just, it's offensive, it's troubling, it's inconvenient, because that's really the only type of unity that's going to work. And I know, so often we hear messages on unity, and it's so easy to check out on those messages, because we presume either we understand it, or we don't like where it's going, And so I encourage you, don't check out on this, because this is a critical message. Let me read this to you out of Joel. This is going to be Joel chapter 2, verse 15. I read this last night as well. I've said often that, I think it's probably going to take a crisis. It's going to take judgment of God. It's going to take something on the negative end in order to get the church finally to the place where we're unified, where we're praying together, where we're responding, where we're in position, where we're locked in, where we're recalibrating our schedules, where we are finally dealing with the cares of life. I think it's going to take a crisis. I hope not, but I really think that's probably what's going to happen. Because look here in Joel chapter 2, what the unapologetic call was. Blow the trumpet in Zion, consecrate a fast. Now, most people would check out right there. Consecrate a what? Consecrate a feast? I'm there. No. Consecrate a fast. Call a solemn assembly. Gather the people. Okay? So far, so good. For example, we had the call, 11-11-11, and it was a solemn assembly. And now listen, people get a little uptight with me sometimes when I'm so dogmatic about this. And I understand that I lose people when I get so dogmatic. But the call was a solemn assembly. Lou Engle came in, and there was others in the city that were giving leadership to that. When a prophet gives a call, we have no option but to respond. So Lou Engle called. He gathered the church together. And the entire church didn't show up. Hardly any of the church in Detroit showed up. At times during the event, it was very, near, not empty, but it wasn't packed. I'll tell you that. I think they said at times there were only 3,000 or 4,000 people in the building. And so it was a failure of response. And this happens large scale in a city level, which is the harder way to do it. But it fails all the time on the smaller levels, in the smaller environments like the local church. So again, blow the trumpet in Zion, consecrate a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people, consecrate the congregation. Now, Joshua 3:5 says, consecrate yourselves, For tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. So consecration is a mandate if we want to see God move, if we want to see things happen. So consecrate the congregation, assemble the elders. So there's now understand, there is a call from somebody, from a prophet that has the authority to call elders, to call leaders into position. You know, and in America, in the American church system, leaders don't usually find themselves responsive to anyone but themselves, which is a big deal. So here it says, you know, so already you can see how this strategy, that this is an end time strategy that we need to see return to the church again and return to our cities again if we want to see revival break out. You can already see before I've read, you know, even a part of a verse, how this has many points of failure already. Okay, blow the trumpet in Zion, that's easy. Sound the alarm. Consecrate a fast, failure. More than likely. Call a solemn assembly. Well, you can call a solemn assembly. You can do that. Gather the people. Oops, failure. Because independent people don't generally want to gather. Oh, someone just chatted. Hang on. He's saying nothing's coming up. Oh, and I said, did you hit play? And he said, the circle's going round and round. Let me check here. I want to make sure I'm online. Ooh. He might be right. I might not be on the air, so hang tight. And I'm going to get right back on to this. Oh, someone else says that they're able to see me. All right, I've got, I'm going to open up a web browser over here. This is my main computer. I've got my laptop over here. Just want to make sure we're all able to tap in here. You know, the circle's spinning for me too. Is anybody out there able to see what's going on? I'm gonna jump into this chat room real quick. What do I do? What do I do? Let's see. Hang tight, everybody, because I'm telling you, I got a good message tonight. I'm not sure how to troubleshoot this. Let's see. So that's still spinning over there. I wonder if I went right to the YouTube channel. Hey, I'm on the YouTube channel. So there's something wrong with the embedded video. Okay, here's the plan. All right, hang tight. All right. So there you go. I'm going to continue on here. So I think I have my instructions out there for you guys. So let me just continue. So the idea here is if it's working, great. If it's not, go ahead and click on the title at the top of the video, and it'll take you to the actual YouTube stream. I am not sure why the feed isn't working, but let's continue. So here we go. We're going through Joel 2, 15 through 17. And we're looking at all these points of failure. Okay, so it says assemble the elders. Okay, wow, that's a challenge. Okay, then gather the children. Now, children are generally on board with this kind of stuff. They're gonna like, yeah, let's go. I know when Ella or Jet, they hear that I'm gonna go somewhere. They're like, Daddy, can I go? I want to go. Especially if they know I'm going to church. Daddy, can we go to church? So the children aren't the problem. The parents are, right? The parents are, because the parents are like, oh no, I've got to deal with the children, and I don't think I can respond. Well, let's keep reading here. It says, even nursing infants. So now it's not only the children, but the nursing infants that are even more demanding, right? So they're eliminating all the excuses here, right? And so all these points of failure, we wonder why we don't see revival. Now, it says, let the bridegroom leave his room. It's going to take a gutsy groom to leave his wedding. It says, and the bride her chamber. So wait a minute. You're saying that there's something that's more important than a wedding? Yeah. Okay. Between the vestibule and the altar, let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep and say, spare your people, O Lord, and make not your heritage a reproach, a byword among the nations. Why should they say among the people, where is their God? So, wow, what a verse. And so are we in a place right now in this nation where we're going to be responsive to the call? We're going to be responsive to the call to gather, to the call to pray, the call to, reorder our lives and deal with the cares of life and all of that kind of stuff. Or are we going to just keep going on with life as usual, get tired and stressed out, and then just kind of do the church stuff and prayer stuff and revival stuff as it fits into the remaining pockets of time? That's a huge problem. And we see in Joshua chapter 3, it's a huge issue. Under Moses, they failed because people were distracted and they were not responsive to the leadership of Moses. They were complaining, they were fearful, they had issues. And because of that, everyone but Joshua and Caleb died in the desert, right? And so, what are we going to do now? Well, with Joshua, he shifted everything. He decided that, wait a minute, we're not going to just be casual about this, but we're going to have military level precision. And in order for this to happen, now listen, this is really troubling. It's offensive. I'd love to get some discussion on this. If you're watching on YouTube, you might have to have two windows open tonight for whatever reason. The embedded, video isn't working, on the furnace.tv/live page. So you may need to go, to have two windows open, have your actual YouTube window open, and then go to also go to the other page there so you can chat, because I really want to get some chat going on, because this is truly an offensive message. It requires radical submission to leadership. Now the issue of submission is so offensive, and I wrote my book on this. I've been hitting on this lately. I wrote my book on this, Covens in the Church, and it's all about the issue of submission to authority for the sake of the greatest mission in history. And we have so many people that are wounded, and they've withdrawn from the church, and people are mad at authority, and the Bible says do what's good and you won't be afraid of authority. So that's such a key principle. Do what's good and you're not going to be afraid of what they can do to you. You won't have to withdraw. You won't have to guard yourself. You won't have to be afraid. You won't have to be nervous. You won't have to be wounded. All of those things. And but we have so many that are just abdicating their responsibility and just departing or pulling back. When now we're in the end of the age here, when we need Joshua 3 level precision. We need military level precision. And the issue of submission is only highlighted at the point of disagreement. So it's not really, easy to say with confidence that you're submitted to somebody if you agree with everything. Right? Someone gives me $1 million. Oh, I am submitted to you. I'm so much in agreement with you. Someone requires of me to shovel their driveway. Oh, I don't know if I'm so submitted to you now. I don't know if I agree with that. I think we can just let it go. We'll just let that go. And you understand. So that person wasn't truly submitted at all. And so submission is really highlighted at the point of disagreement. So do we have a culture of submission? No, we don't. Do we need a culture of submission? Yes, we do. Well, what did it take in order for the Israelites, the next generation, to finally become submitted under the leadership of Joshua, who was under the leadership of God? Well, it took them witnessing the death of the previous generation. They witnessed the death of Moses, their leader, right? And so then they're like, okay, this is serious. No more playing games. We need to hear what the man of God is doing as he's leading the charge, and we need to get the job done. So, for example, when Lou Engle came to town, he was the man of the hour, and every single Christian in the entire region should have been at Ford Field on 11/11/11. It was a 24-hour event. So every single person in Detroit, 100% of the people in Detroit, or nearly 100%, I'm sure there's some extreme cases, but nearly 100% of the Christians in Detroit had availability to make it down there, yet few did. So again, that's why I say I think it's going to take crisis in order for us to finally get our act together. So with Moses, they saw a generation die in the desert, and so that's what it took to get them serious, to get them to the point where they're gathering together. And so under Joshua, of course, it was precision. Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you, right? They listened to the leadership of Joshua. I mean, read the account. It was powerful. I mean, this is my life chapter. So boom, 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 everybody in position, no murmuring, no complaining, no arguing, no second guessing, no questioning, no wondering, no holding back, no slowing down. Everybody was moving at the same pace, moving into an impossible situation, moving into a threatening situation, right? And they succeeded, and they crossed the impossible river, and they then marched around an impossible city, again with precision. And under the leadership of Joshua, when it was time to shout, they shouted, and the walls came down. Listen, it's as easy as this. If we can be a people that are locked in, that are submitted, come on, let's talk about this. We are so independent in this nation. Oh my goodness. I've shared this story before. I met an African pastor when I was at the International House of Prayer, and I was in the coffee shop one day and just met this pastor, and he just was sharing with me just the moves of God there. And I said, well, what would you say is the main reason for what's going on? And he said 100% of the church every Friday night comes to the church, and many of them walk for miles. They come to the church and they pray all night long, from night until morning. 100% of the church, because they're responsive to the leadership. And so are we going to see this kind of thing happen? I really want to get your comments. Email me if you're not in the chat room, because I know we're having problems on that page, which has kind of, I'm into tech all the time, all day, and it just frustrates me when something's not working. I'm not sure why that is, but you can email me wherever you're viewing this. Email me. I'll get your email right in front of me here, and I'm gonna try to fix this real quick. Watch. See, I get so crazy about this. I think I can fix this. I'm gonna try. And so email me, and then I'll respond to your messages. But I want to hear. I mean, really, what do you think about this? What do you think about this idea of submission to authority, and why is it such an issue? Why isn't it working? What's the issue? What's your personal issue? Why is that a problem? And so shoot me that email, or you can use the chat room. Here we go. In the chat room, saw something on TV, and I just updated this room here. I'm going to see how it works. Let's see here. So let's see, saw something on TV about how Japan is coming up with amazing new instruments to help warn them of tsunamis, earthquakes, or Mount Fuji erupting so they can be prepared. They've experienced tragedy and learned from it. We're so comfortable here and non-alarmed. Excellent. I mean, it's such a simple concept, right? Someone else said, too many of us let the importance of earthly things in our lives to be more important than the mission. The concept of precision seems to be absent from our culture. And I absolutely agree. I'm not sure why that is. Yeah, look at this. This isn't working. Keep commenting. Keep doing this. You know, someone shot me an email, or not an email. Through another. I have a variety of ways to get in touch with me. This one is from. They are using the chat on the very bottom of the screen, which that's not what I generally look at, but I did see it here. He says, "How do we know who to submit to? Can God reveal it to us through dreams?" You know, that's a really good question. You know, I think that the easy answer is for us to, wherever we're planted in our local church, which all of us need to be planted in a local church. So wherever we've planted, and this is why it's so critical that we let God choose the church that we plant in, and we don't just shop around and choose the one with the best children's ministry or the best whatever, that we let God plant us. So whatever local church we're planted in, then whoever is the leader of that ministry, that's the one we submit to, okay? And it's really simple. You know, your local church pastor is going to be the one that you submit to. You know, on a larger, now it gets even more complicated than that, on a larger scale, because then you ask the question, what about on a city level, right? And this is where we're actually quite a ways away, because the whole idea of apostles over a city, it's foreign. You know, for example, when I was in Colorado Springs, it was acknowledged by many, but certainly not by many others, because of issues that they had, jealousy or whatever, but there were many that acknowledged, myself included, that Ted Haggard was the apostle of the city. Now, Ted never would have called himself that, but you simply knew because of the authority that he had. You knew because of the call on his life, you know, these types of things, the impact that he was having, that he was without question, you know, the apostle of the city. And so we're going to have to get comfortable with this idea of who's the apostle of the city, or who are the apostles. There's depending on the size of the city and the structure, there can certainly be more than one. But we've got to discover that, and that's where pastors are going to have to be unified and together, and they're going to have to be okay with submitting to those who are you know, going to be over them. And so, yeah, what do you think about that? Keep shooting me comments as you're seeing my weakness here, getting joyfully frustrated because it won't work. I don't know what it could be. I'm going to try doing it another way. I bet you this way is going to work. Oh, sorry, I had you looking at that email address for too long. I bet you this way is going to work, but it's not my preferred method. Let me try something. All right, we're going to try this. And I know some of you are watching on the YouTube channel. You're like, what is he talking about? It's working fine. It's not working on my the furnace.tv page. All right, someone else chatted. The world has issues with submission. Hearing a lot of debate regarding submission in marriage. It's very sad that God's people are refusing to submit, and that's in lots of different ways. If we can't see it on a personal level, then the city level is even more foreign. That's an excellent point too. You know, the whole idea of submission in marriage, you know, that's resisted. You know, people don't, you know, like that. I mean, that's radically resisted. And so, yeah, why is it? Talk to me. Why do you think it is that people have such struggles with submission? You know, I have a lot of answers myself. You know, I wrote that book, Covens in the Church, where I deal with this. And, why is that? Well, people get wounded by leaders. That's a huge one. It's a huge one. One of the points that I make is, we tend to, when we get rejected, we tend to leave the church. We run from the church. But when Jesus was rejected, he died for the church. What a radical difference. My answer didn't work here, so not sure what it is. This guy, hopefully it'll resolve by tomorrow. We shall see, right? All right. So I'll just put it back the way it was. Sorry about that, everybody. It's beyond me. I'm not sure. The concept of submitting to leadership to the point of reordering your life probably seems cultic to some. You are right. Let's talk about that too. But when people see beyond their own lives and see the bigger mission, not a man-made mission, but what is burning on God's heart, then what else can we do but to lay it all down and answer the call? Yeah, it does feel cultic. It really, truly does. And, because again, we are in this nation, we're independent, right? We don't want to be told what to do. We want to order our own lives, it's crazy. And so, we see throughout Scripture that there's submission to leadership and there's divine order in these things. But nowadays, this is why the church is so messed up. Now the church is set up in such a way where pastors are convinced that the majority will receive the message and receive the experience. Oh gosh, guys. Oh, it's so grieving to me. The church is not for us. The church is for God. It's a house of prayer for all nations. The church is, we're not to use the church for our own benefit. We're there to die. Really? Because we're kicking into 4-day-a-week services at Revival Church and the Detroit Prayer Furnace. Yet all around the nation, churches are canceling services and pretty much having one service a week. And people go to church once a week. And that's it. Stop and think about this. What happened to the days when people were in church every time the doors were open? And now people are in church once a week. It just doesn't register. It doesn't make sense. Why? And it's so sad that people wouldn't want to be in the church more than once a week. And so churches are canceling services and because they know that the people won't respond. They know that people won't jump on board, Well, so what do? We wave the white flag and give up. I just don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is to prepare and to provide opportunity for people to get into a place of fervent, committed devotion to Jesus on a corporate level, not just a personal level. We're so independent. We just think we can do our Jesus thing independently. I'll just kind of hide away and I'll just be with Jesus by myself. Well, that's you might think you're having impact. You're just really not, because we have to be together. Someone else chatted. The reason why submission is not embraced. We want our own way. We want to have all these desires, wants, and ideas. Usually, we believe our our thoughts, desires, and ideas trump everybody else's. Maybe it's just plain old selfishness. Channeling those ideas can be difficult. Most don't want to die to themselves. Most don't carry their cross. It's easier to brush things under the rug and agree to disagree when that helps no one but digs a deeper grave. And we have to get used to the idea of the authority structure. There's rank and order in the church. And again, people run from that because it feels self-serving. Well, the pastor is just being a jerk and he's selfish himself and well, some of them are, but that's God's job to take care. Our job is not to bring a faulty leader, under correction. That's God's job, or that's his overseer's job. Our job is to submit, right? And, you know, even if we're to submit to unrighteous authority, like judges and policemen and, you know, our bosses at work who maybe they're mean and nasty and cruel, and if we're to submit to those people, the Bible says that we submit to authority. If we're to submit to those people, I just don't get how we think we don't have to submit to Christian leaders. Oh, please, somebody. We submit to all of these evil authorities, but not Christian leaders. And I'm not pretending it's easy. Boy, it's not easy. You want to die quick, become a submissive person, right? Some of my greatest lessons have been submitting, learning to submit. And we all still learn, because we all still have opportunities to get uptight, but there was a time when I was a youth pastor in a large church, and man, I'm a visionary, and I was running strong and developing my department, and it's a big department, lots of kids, lots of stuff going on, and I was excited, man. I was leading the senior high and the junior high, and I had vision for them, and I was, running with them to, as one large group, and I had plans and all. Well, the pastor, who I didn't even talk with him that much. It was interesting. We didn't even have a relationship, though I was his youth pastor, and he'd show up at the office and get the job done, but he was successful. And but I just personally just never had a relationship with him really at all, and so his son-in-law, future son-in-law, was graduating Bible college, and he was going to come on staff, and so the pastor and I briefly talked about he could jump on and just kind of learn the ropes from me and whatever. And so I'm like, cool. And he said, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to have a meeting, and bring your thoughts and your ideas and maybe a plan of how this can work, and we'll talk about that in the meeting. So I'm like, cool, let's do this. It'd be kind of fun to have someone to run with, and I was excited about it. So I went into this meeting with the pastor and with his future son-in-law, and I didn't get to say one word. He just started talking, and he started laying out the plan. And his plan was to divide the youth group in half, and to bring on his future son-in-law as a peer, meaning we would have the same authority or the same level of leadership. And so I would be leading the senior high, and he'd be leading the junior high, and so I didn't get to say a word. And I left that meeting with steam coming out of my ears, because everything I had worked for was just eliminated. It was just done. I can't even begin to tell you. Not only that, I felt dishonored. I felt like he didn't value my leadership. On and on and on. It was all about me, just to give you a clue. Right? And so I went into my office, pacing, steaming, and I'm like, all right, I just can't wimp out on this one. I've got to state my case. Got to do it. It's not fair. It wasn't right. He was abusing his leadership. He didn't care about what I had done. He went back on a promise. He told me that I would have a say. He lied, on and on and on. I'm like stewing and steaming and raging inside. I was mad. So I sat down and wrote out a letter, an email. It was appropriate. I was being nice. I still needed to keep my job. But I let him know that I was really frustrated and hurt, and I didn't understand it and all this stuff. I was just pleading my case. I was getting ready to send it to him, and he basically said this: good, you get that out of your system? Okay, destroy it. you're never going to send that message. And I did. I destroyed it. See, when I first started at that church, God spoke to me and he said, you are not here really for this church. Yeah, you're going to build your ministry and you're going to serve and you're going to do all that. And a lot of cool things happened. But God said, you're here on an assignment. You're here to learn. See, he put me in a church that was very, very different than a church that I would be involved in, that I would lead, that I would choose. But it was unbelievably successful in a lot of different ways. And it wasn't a bad church. It was a good church. But it was just nothing like a church that I would lead. And I knew that I had no option but to learn everything that God had to teach me and to do it quickly and with the right heart. Because I didn't want to delay my promotion. And I didn't want to delay the mission in Manitou Springs, in the Colorado Springs area, because there were people there waiting for me to minister life to them. And how could I delay? And so there were a variety of decisions like this, moments like this. And I just died to my own opinions, and I died to my own issues and my own attitudes, and I passed every test. I can look back and I can say that I passed every single test. It wasn't always easy. I didn't immediately always have the best attitude, but I ultimately absolutely passed every test, and because of that, I was moved on to Colorado much more quickly than I could have been. And so submission is so important. Let me see over here in the chat room. It's like in the moments that matter the most to us, ones that carry the most emotion, that are prime picking for God to use in submission and dying to our flesh. In his sovereignty, that's how much God loves us. And hey, God does love us. I mean, he really does. He loves us enough to rock our little worlds, Let me ask you guys a question. Is this working for anybody on the furnace.tv/live page? Is it working? I mean, the chat's working, of course, but is the video working? Maybe refresh your screen and try again. If it's not, I'm just curious. It's not working for me, and I cannot imagine why. It has worked flawlessly since day one. So there might be something going on that is beyond me. There might be, I just don't know. Give you a chance to respond to that. Just again, want to keep you keep this in front of you. If you're in the Detroit area, please join us this Saturday, 4 o'clock, Joe Louis Arena, right in front, and we're going to pray and just encourage people. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be powerful. And then after that, we're going to go to Revival Church for a fiery service. All right, someone says that they are on the live page. So you are seeing this just fine, right? How strange. It's not working for me. That's why I'm asking. It's not working for me. But it's working for you. And that's all that matters, I suppose, right? Okay, good. Is there anybody out there? Oh, there. Someone says it's still not working on the Furnace page. Weird. Hey, for the one it's not working on the Furnace page, what browser are you using? And the one that it is working on the Furnace page, what browser are you using? It'll just help me. In the meantime, you guys want to have a Nia sighting? I'm about done with my teaching here, unless you have more things to talk about and I can stay with you guys. Nia, do you want to see all your friends? She's sleeping right down here at my feet. She's getting too big for me to pick up almost, though. Do you want to see all your friends? Yeah? Come here. Come here. Come on. You're going to make me pick you all the way up? Oh, you are a big old mega dog. There we go. So there's Nia. Would you guys agree, those that have been watching just the last several weeks, that she's getting huge. She's so big. You're a monster. But you're a good monster, and I like you, and I'm going to keep you. There we go. So let's see. Still not working on Google Chrome, but also tried Internet Explorer. All right. Well, whatever. We'll just, I guess we'll hope for the best next week and see what happens. Very strange. But I guess it worked. At least it worked on the YouTube page, so that's good. All right, guys. Well, does anybody have any final thoughts or questions or comments? Or this one says it's working for me on Chrome, but I started watching a few minutes before the show started, trying to open a new one on the furnace, and it's not working. Weird. That doesn't make sense. Oh, but that's kind of what happened to me too, I guess. Yeah, I had mine going before the show started, and it was working great. But then after the show started, I refreshed, and it didn't work. All right, whatever. That is the strangest thing in the world. If any of you tech geniuses out there might know what's going on, let me know, and I'll figure it out. Okay, guys. Okay, Nia, say bye to everybody. Say bye. Say it's going to be a big weekend. Friday night and Saturday night and Monday. Lots of good stuff at Revival Church in the Detroit Prayer Furnace. Monday night, don't forget to listen in on the radio, 4:45. All right, guys, you are all amazing. I'll keep my eye on the chat room for a couple minutes here if you have things to say, and I'll respond there. But crazy revival blessings to you all, and I'll see you next week. Don't forget to listen in if you're not in the Detroit area. Listen in on Saturday night, right here, the same place. Audio right below, and listen to our service on Saturday. It's powerful. All right, talk to you soon.